Plants in the garden need water to survive, but with hotter summers and rising water bills, how can we keep our garden looking good but cut down on our water usage? Today, I'm going to show you how. Anyone who's stagged around their garden with a watering can knows how much easier life is with a hosepipe. But the important thing is getting fitments to that hosepipe which allow you some kind of control over the water that's coming out. Now you might think that by using a hosepipe you're being more extravagant with your watering, but you're not, because with a controlling head on the end of it like this, you can make sure the water goes where it's needed, when it's needed. This is a gun, and this is the attachment which has a stop mechanism inside it. So you can pull it off and the water is pressurised in there, but it's not coming out. By turning this head, you can adjust the kind of spray. There's also a little switch there, which means you can leave it on without touching it. I'm just going to turn it off now so I can show you the different sprays. That, for me, is the most useful. That's an overhead spray. There are various ones on here, but for me, this is the most useful. It's gentle. You can also affect the speed at which the water comes out by using this sliding mechanism, which alters the water pressure. Time of day, always best to water your plants either early in the morning or early in the evening. If they're absolutely gasping for water midday, for goodness sake, give them a drink. But ideally, early morning and early evening means that the water will go into action and the evaporation levels are lower, so more of it will be useful. And don't, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, don't think you're watering your border by doing this. You're not. The plant's roots are what takes up water. You need to get down there. If you can't bend, it's all right to do it at this height, but really get that hose going on to the soil so it's going down to where it's needed, but give them plenty. And if you're not sure whether or not they need water, use a trowel or your hands if you're a flat me, scrape away a bit of earth, and if it's moist about an inch down, if it feels like a freshly wrung out flannel, they'll be okay. If a period of drought and really hot sun's coming, yes, do make sure there's plenty of water down there for them to be able to use during that hot period. And the most important plants to water well and regularly in hot spells are those that you've just planted, because their roots will not be established and will not be seeking out water. If you only spray the top of the soil like that, and you do it regularly, plants will realise that's where the water is and they'll start sending their roots to the surface. And that means when you go away, they're high and dry, quite literally. So a good soaking, morning or evening, when they need it. And of course, fruit and veg also need to be regularly supplied with water so that development of fruit and veg is even. One way in which we're minimalising water loss in this garden is by mulching. It's a lovely word, isn't it? Mulch. It sounds as though it's doing good, and indeed it is, especially in this case. What a mulch is a thick rug on the surface of moist soil, and that way it prevents evaporation from taking place quite so rapidly. The most popular things to use as a mulch are chipped bark, like this one. This is really coarse, very slow to rot down, and that will last a good number of seasons before it gradually disappears into the soil through rotting and being pulled down by earthworms. You can also get the finer composted bark, which is better at enriching the soil underneath, but doesn't last quite so long as the chipped bark does, which is actually quite ornamental. I've used this time and time again in all the gardens I work in because it really does save time and money, and it keeps plants happy. You know, it's almost like tucking them in at night with a lovely warm blanket or a duvet. You put this around them after planting while the soil is moist. That's important, so then it seals that moisture in, stops it evaporating, and the plants grow far better as a result of having a steady supply of moisture. It'll be effective for quite a long time, an organic mulch like this, but in prolonged dry spells, it's still worth giving your plants some water. Scrape away the mulch, see what the earth is like underneath, push the mulch back and you can still water on top of it. The water will percolate down through the mulch and keep that moisture level high. When it comes to thickness, well, about 2 inches will do nicely, and just make sure it doesn't go right into the crown of the plant. You can make a little hollow around it so the plant comes up in the middle, but that goes almost right up to it. That way you avoid rotting the crown with any kind of decomposition that's going on. If you have been hit with a hosepipe ban, there are ways you can still get water to your plants. One thing this garden does have plenty of is water butts. Every home should have water butts. What's in here is free, and also you've probably noticed whenever you water plants with rainwater they do seem to grow better. So on every downpipe of your house, in this case there's an old tile roof and the lead flashing has been adjusted round the back to divert the water that comes onto that roof into the water butt. And if you're worried that once the water butt's full, what's going to happen to the water, it's all going to overflow. No, you can get downpipes with diverters in them which carry on filling this until it's full, and then the water goes down the drain. So if you can store every drop of water possible in your garden, you'll be far less irritated when there's a hosepipe ban. Don't get me started. There are lots of ways in which you can use that water wisely. Put a few of them over here. One thing I want to put into this garden is automated irrigation. And believe it or not, this rather primitive looking water butt is a very good place to start. So if on your allotment or down at the end of the garden where there's no water main accessible, you want to do automated irrigation, what can you do? Well, if you've got a water butt, you can use this. You've got a pump on the bottom, and up this pipe is the outlet. And that sits in there in your water butt with the outlet coming over the edge, and here is another piece of kit which sits on the side of the water butt. On here you have a timer, an adjuster for the water pressure, and in here goes the battery, just like a battery that you get on an electrical lawnmower or piece of garden equipment. Click that in place, fasten that on there, and then this is the outlet. The pump sends the water up the pipe when it's turned on and timed. You fasten that to the hose pipe, which leads to your irrigation system. So the hose pipe goes from there right the way across the front of the greenhouse, and here I've already started setting up this drip irrigation system. All these connectors and bits and bobs, you work out how you want them to run across, in this case, the raised bed. They've got these things which keep them firm in the ground. They connect to the end of the hose pipe when the whole thing is connected up, and you've worked out then a system which can water multiple beds. I've got 3 trickle lines running along this bed because I thought that made more sense than just doing a couple, and I want to fit it all together and make sure the pegs are holding it down. Wish me luck, bit of a fiddle. So they're all in. I think I've got all my connections fairly solid, so fingers crossed. Back to the centre of operations, the water butt. I'll leave the pressure fairly low at the moment just till I see what it's doing, and then turn it on to manual, which is the first setting on the timer. So, because I want it to come on instantly. See if it does. Is it going to? Houston, we appear to have liftoff. Let's just see if it's coming out the other end. It is. Look, my trickle irrigation is trickling. all the way along. And it's interesting when you see the diagrams of these, because it goes down the soil like that, widening as it goes. So there we are, my vegetables are being watered by rainwater, free. The drip hose is one of the most efficient and effective ways of watering, less wasteful than sprays. And now it's beginning to rain. I didn't realise I'd turned that tap on as well. There we are, job done. What my water butt won't do, the skies will help. If you've enjoyed this video, why not subscribe? I post new gardening videos every week to help make your garden beautiful, productive, and a pleasure to be in.